Hi beautiful souls, it's Tad back here again with you today on this beautiful summer day on this Astrology, Human Design and Gene Keys channel. And today I want to talk about the voices of leadership of the throat gate in Human Design. And this video is gonna kind of address the themes of leadership based on the channel in Human Design that connects to the throats. So these leadership channels are going to be channel 31-7, connecting the G center to the throat, channel 8-1, connecting the G center to the throat, channel 13-33, connecting the G center to the throat, and channel 45-21, connecting the heart center to the throat. So these four channels all have a voice of leadership, meaning that if you have these channels, or if you have, what I've noticed is if you have a gate, a hanging gate on any of these channels, meaning that you have one of the gates without the other, then this tends to be more of a partnering up of leadership or partnering with other people for leadership. But if you have the whole channel, it's more of your own energy, a voice of leadership here. That is different kinds of leadership coming from your actual voice, but also the things that you do and the way that you carry out things in your life that puts you in a position of leader. And so all of these channels are beautiful channels for leadership, but they're different. So it's not like one is better than the other, one is an old or outdated way of leading and another one is a more progressive way of leading. They're all different and they all actually can kind of work together in synchronicity really, really well. So let's talk about the 731 voice of leadership first. This is the voice of leadership that is what I would consider to be the facilitator or the guide in in society, in a country, in a community, in a company, or with in the family, we can say as well. And this is the voice of the leader who really knows their people. This is a leader that really can speak to the heart of the people. Is a leader that acts a little bit like even like a spokesperson for the people, but also a great facilitator, meaning that this channel also does really, really well. And the sun is shining on my head and I'm really bright right now. But yes, facilitating a group, for example. So a team leader, we can say, or a country leader, who is a guide for the people, meaning that the people lead, the people are somewhat leading, but the 731 also leads alongside the people by showing them the way, what they should be doing next and how they should be doing certain things. So on a smaller scale, let's say for example in a classroom, let's say there's a classroom and there's different groups doing projects together. Let's say there's 10 people in one group, that's a big classroom, 5 people in one group doing a project, and then we're going to have somebody who's going to be the group leader. Most likely it's going to be the 731. And this is a group leader that is really there and kind of like knows everybody's skills and talents and what they're about, and therefore that's a good facilitator and a good guide, and can, be the person to initiate the project and say, oh, you have this gift, and so I think that you may take on this task in this project really well. What do you think? That person can choose, whether they want to take that advice or they don't want to take that advice. But the 731 really understands this ability to guide in that sense. And then they sit back and they see their work at play, see how the other group members are interacting at play based on their guidance. And the other group members may come to the 731 for advice. This doesn't quite work. What should we do next? And the 731, because they really understand the dynamics of the group and how things are kind of synchronized there, can give the right advice. So that's the leadership of the 731. And of course, the shadow of the 731 is going to be a voice that can sound bossy, authoritative, or arrogant. That can sound a little bit like Sorry if you can hear some chickens in the background. But the 731 can have this voice of, if you don't do it my way, then you're not part of the team. Or if you're not doing it this way, then there's something wrong with you. Can have that type of a tone to the voice of the 731, a bit of an arrogance there that can cause people to feel like they are inferior to the superiority of the 731, and they may not want to be part of the team anymore. Now let's talk about the 8-1. This is a different type of leadership. This is a channel that is a voice of leadership by leading by example. So it's called the channel of inspiration. This is a role model type of a channel, somebody that lives their life very uniquely with style, in a unique style that makes other people want to follow or want to take a little bit of their ideas, and their ideas that is also based on a bigger cause. You know, somebody that says, for example, I am going to live minimalist. But in that minimalist way of living, I'm going to live just with the color green. Minimalist color, green color life. And they decorate their home and they dress in green and it's all minimalist. And the people understand that, oh, there's a cause behind this, whatever that cause may be, and wants to follow that. But they may not follow everything. You know, they may follow by, let's just say, minimalist but not green, or green but not minimalist. But it's coming because they're inspired by the uniqueness of the 8-1 that lives their life as an example. And yes, that's how it goes. And because of this, there is a slower collective societal change or mutation or progress in society. And so it's an individual path that the 8-1 has, but can gather a collective support. That's why gate 8 is called the gate of contribution. It gathers a support, a collective support based on its individual, on the 8-1's individual unique path. The shadow of the 8-1 is what I would say to compromise your unique path and your individual path. Compromise your ability to set an example for money, for material gains, or for the short term. For something in the short term, because either you want to make sure you're afraid of standing out, or there's too much entropy, depression that happens, moodiness, darkness that you feel inside of you, that you want to get rid of that right away by adopting a shorter path to something. So we can think of somebody who doesn't become a minimalist with a green color, but instead they just choose to work for a company, to an interior design company instead, because they're good with interior design, they have style, so they'll work there, they'll get money, they'll get stability, but they're not going in their own individual unique path, and so they're not contributing to the collective because they've adopted that short-term compromising path instead. Let's talk about the voice of the 1333. So the 1333 has a voice of support and a really good confidant type. If we think about a school, and the school has a school counselor, the 1333 is going to be that school counselor. But you see how that counselor is still in a position of somewhat of a leader, because the moral support, the emotional support, the empathy and understanding of humanity is required in any type of a group dynamic. If there's nobody in a group dynamic that we can say a bit of that INFP, you know, the MBTI INFP or INFJ type, where they can connect with people through compassion and empathy and humanity. Let's say, you know, you have that classroom setting and one of the members in that team has this weird, quirky idea. And it seems out of the box and nobody really connects with it, and we don't have that person that is able to offer empathy or understanding for something that may not be easy to understand, then that person who has that weird quirky idea wouldn't feel like they're making a difference and wouldn't feel belonging. So I feel that 1333 has a voice of leadership that enables belonging in a tribe, in a community, in a team, we can say there. So, and if someone in a particular team is feeling down, feeling sad or depressed on a certain day, that person is there for listening, to listen to them, to offer them support, to offer them a guidance, to keep their secret, so that that person has a place to kind of recharge and be encouraged to continue with whatever that needs to be done in the group or in the team. So that's the voice of the 1333 as a leader. So the shadow of the 1333 is to not use your empathy and to even be narrow-minded. You know, in a sense, it can come off as that. So when people do come to you, or they need some kind of emotional support in a team, instead of actually offering empathy, you can, at the shadow, sound judgmental or narrow-minded, and then that person, instead of feeling loved, feeling supported, feels instead like they don't belong, feels worse than they felt at the beginning, and just, we can even say it breaks up the group, or breaks up a community, or breaks up a tribe, rather than holding the tide together, we can say with that one. The last voice of leadership is going to be the 4521. This is very, very different, and this, I'm even more inclined to say that this may not really be even leadership, but it's more of a voice of rulership. So this is an energy where if you have the 2145, you have ownership of some kind of resource that a tribe, a community, a team, a country can use. And in that way, it does make you somewhat of another type of leader. So think about a company where we have different teams of people working, and in that team we have a leader, we have a support, and then we have the role model in that team. But where do these teams belong to? They belong to a larger branch, an owner, somebody who has the money to, for example, build an office space for people to actually work in and form teams to work in. They actually have the resource that can be termed as trust and loyalty that makes people want to be a part of whatever they own. So if the person who has the 4521 doesn't come across as a trustworthy person, or a person that is loyal, this is big, because nobody would want to use your resources or the things that you own or be a part of what you own, because they're going to feel uncertain and they don't know when you may just take advantage of them in terms of the resources at the time, or maybe even oppress them. Like you can say that you have to pay a certain rent every month, but if they don't trust you, you could just raise up that rent or demolish that building, and then that particular team would have nowhere to work anymore. That company would have nowhere to go. So that's why the trust and the loyalty of the 4520 is very, very important. And this is a kingship or queenship type of an energy, which means that if you have the 4521, you are not, unless you have the other channels of leadership, but if you just have the 4521 and no other channels of leadership, you are not here to facilitate, even like guide a team, or even be there for support even. You can try, but it's not going to be in your natural energy flow. And you may find that when you try to adopt those other types of leadership roles, that there's power struggles happening, because you are there as the king or the queen, as the person who has the resources to provide for people. And people may come to you when they want to make big decisions. Like, for example, they want to decorate that rental space in a certain way to suit their company. Then they would have to come to you if they want to make those changes. But you're not to be there to and that's the equality here. Although you may own something, right? your humility here is to be able to say that although I own this space, this online platform for you, or this platform for you to do whatever you want to do in, you can still do as you wish. There's an agreement there that it's still yours. I give this to you. I give this ownership to you. You can do what you want with it. But all I want from you, all I need from you is trust. So the trust has to be instilled with the 2145 here, that I feel. This trust that although you have given your ownership to somebody else, you have given some power to another person, that person is also going to understand that they can't take all of the power, and that trust gives equality there. So if we think about the classroom situation, I really feel that the 4521 is like the teacher. Gate 45 also is the voice of the teacher. So this is the teacher of the classroom. The teacher owns the classroom. The teacher has the resources to teach, but the teacher assigns different groups of 5 students per group to carry out a group project. And so in that group project, hey, the team leader can do as they wish. But if the team leader wants to say, I don't want to be the team leader anymore, teacher, or can we sit somewhere else? Can we change our tables because it's really noisy over here? Or can we trade team members with another team? Then you have to come to the owner, that king or the queen, the teacher, to make those types of decisions. And the teacher or the owner, the 2145 in this case, has to be able to give some of that power over to the people and the leaders of the team and say yes or no based on various other things. They almost have, like, the 4521 almost has very, very little say in that kind of a thing, except, kind of just giving permission to talk to another team member to see if they can trade. But because they own the space, the people still trust and still respect the 2145 to be a trustworthy person to give power to them. The ultimate trust in the 2145 is the trust to give the power to the people, to give the power to the leaders of the teams. So I hope that's kind of making sense a little bit there. And the shadow of the 4521 is going to be authoritative, and to not give that power away to the other and to assume a position of dominance, and not allowing themselves to be submissive in a sense of giving power to the people sometimes, because you already have their trust and you already have the potential to garner their trust and their loyalty. So why would you not give that power to them to make certain decisions, because you're just the owner here, Yeah, I think this was just an interesting topic to contemplate on a little bit. Let me know what you guys think. Do you have any of these channels, and how do you experience leadership in your life? It's getting very hot out here, so I think I'm gonna stop filming for today. But yeah, so give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And if you already subscribed, then thank you very much, beautiful souls, for coming along on this astrology, human design, and Gene Keys journey with me. And if you're interested in a human design, astrology, Gene Key reading, you can visit my website. The link and the information is going to be in the description box below. And that's it. I'll see you soon, beautiful souls. Have a beautiful summer day.